This video review has been in the works for weeks. It came out on April 14th into the theaters, and I've been trying to sneak it into my work schedule, but it didn't happen, and so I saw it on a Sunday matinee. 2023's Renfield, directed by Chris McKay. This movie, I was talking about it with my buddy Steve, because I saw it with him and his wife, Katrine. It bombed at the box office. It had a $65 million budget, and opening weekend, it only grossed 17 million. And you know what? I don't know why, because I liked the movie. I won't give my official rating yet, because we're going to talk about it first. But I laughed, I got emotional. That's what moves the barometer up, as I said in my last review, and I've said in many of my other reviews. So this movie is obviously starring Nicolas Cage as Dracula. I feel like Nicolas Cage is kind of a hot commodity right now. I have not seen his movie, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, yet, but I recently rewatched what is it called? Raising Arizona, the Coen Brothers classic from 1987, the year that I was born. And I love me some Nick Cage. I think my buddy Jonathan loves Con Air, and he always tells me to watch that and review it, and it's in the archives over there on my massive DVD collection, and I haven't gotten around to rewatching that movie, but I have seen it before. So, interestingly enough, this is not the first time Nicolas Cage has played a vampire. He plays a guy that thinks he's a vampire in a movie from the late 80s or early 90s that I did not write the name of it down, but I knew about that movie because of me and my friend were talking about it before I've heard of this movie was coming out. Lots of CGI, lots of great makeup. They did a great job with the Dracula character, and I really enjoyed Nicolas Cage's portrayal of Dracula. And the guy that plays Robert Renfield, 100-plus-year-old slave to the Lord of Darkness, is played by Nicholas Hoult. And his love interest slash co-starring person is Nora Loom, who goes by the stage name Aquafina. I guess she's a comedic person and a rapper. And also, huge shout out to Ben Schwartz, aka John Ralphio Saperstein from Parks and Rec. He plays this guy, Ted Lobo, who's like a local mafioso type of guy. And I don't know what it is with vampire movies in New Orleans. I believe Interview with the Vampire, I believe that movie takes place in the Big Easy, and this movie also takes place in New Orleans. Maybe because of New Orleans is really into like mystical stuff and voodoo and all that, so it would make sense for the Lord of Darkness to hang his hat in that type of a place. Who knows? I don't know why they picked it. I do know that Nicolas Cage has a pyramid crypt awaiting him for one day when he leaves this earthly life, and it is in New Orleans. And I think that Nicolas Cage also has a house there, so that might have had something to do with it. I don't know. I didn't really read into it. But basically, if you've seen a lot of other vampire movies, there's always this slave to the vampire. In Salem's Lot TV movie, that's the 70s version, the Stephen King movie and the book, the Renfield type of character is played by James Mason, who looks older and had this unnatural strength because of the vampire. But they've gone a different route. Renfield maintains his youthful appearance and was frozen in time from back in the 20s when he became a slave or servant of Dracula. I love vampire stuff. I got really into the sci-fi series Van Helsing. It was really good. The last season kind of wasn't that great. I feel like it could have been better, but I really liked that as a vampire whole genre of movie. And Interview with the Vampire is obviously great. Not into Twilight. Couple like last year, I think I reviewed Nosferatu, the original one. But I would say that, is this movie a classic? I don't know. Maybe it could be. I really enjoyed it, and I don't know why, like I mentioned earlier, I don't know why this movie did not really do well at the box office. Maybe just people aren't turning out to the movies like they used to, and in another point in time, this movie would have had a higher turnout. So, Rotten Tomatoes is wrong. They gave it a 57%. That review was stupid. And IMDb is 6.7 out of 10. Come on, guys. Google users, I'm along the lines of how they feel about this movie. They gave it, real live people, they gave this movie a 90% rating, and I agree with them. I am at 4 out of 5 on this movie. Is it the best vampire movie? It's a different movie. You could classify this movie as a dark comedy slash inspirational film slash, if you're into psychology and positive affirmations, this is the movie for you. Except you might not want to see someone's face get ripped off, or their jugular ripped out, or their body blown apart by the powers of the Dark One, because that's basically what happens in this film. Dracula does horrendous things to accomplish his evil will and a self-serving will. And the whole movie is about Renfield being in this narcissistic relationship with Dracula, and he even goes to a self-help group, kind of like a AA, except for people that are in toxic relationships, and they go there to try and figure out how to get out of it. So it had a lot of psychology in it as well, but it also had a lot of dark humor. And it was just an enjoyable film. A lot of unnecessary F words. They were a little heavy-handed with the profanity. It felt too easy and too stupid. But you know what? It's their movie. They can do what they want. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It wasn't my favorite vampire movie, but I think it's worth more than 57% that Rotten Tomatoes. Definitely more than a 3 out of 5, but it's not a 5 out of 5. It's kind of like up there where it's a good movie and it's an enjoyable movie, but it's not the best vampire movie. But I think that it's kind of polarizing because of, you think of a vampire as being this horrifying, like scary movie. And this movie is kind of like not going a different direction, and maybe people didn't like that. Who knows? So that's my take on Renfield. I would say go check it out, whether you go see it in the theaters and it's not your typical vampire movie. I'm interested to see what others have to say, or if anybody takes me up in my review, and then they can tell me if I was wrong and I was way out of touch. My friend Steve said he's going to watch The Hammer based off of my positive review that I just did of it. And he wants to see if I'm right. And I was 4 out of 5, and he was 4 out of 5 on Renfield as well, and so was his wife. We all enjoyed it. So that's my review, Renfield. Check it out. Bump up that $16 million box office total. They got to recoup their money, folks. They need 65 mil. Until next time, we'll see you then.